Hello, Ruffer family. This is Dr. Walker. Today we are going to be learning about blended learning for today's classroom. This is a part of the annual technology training that Muskogee Public Schools offers all staff members. I am going to be providing many more trainings on site and also virtually this year, specifically on how to really increase our rigor of what we are doing using Schoology. There are a couple self-paced courses that are currently on Schoology, but I am going to be adding a few. One is learning about the elementary experience, and another is upgrading to Schoology from Google Classroom. These are self-paced courses that you're able to do on your own time, and they will be loaded shortly. Today, again, we are learning about blended learning for today's classroom. Our objectives. Teachers will be introduced to SAMR model of instructional design, and teachers will be introduced to blended learning models that can be adopted in the classrooms. SAMR. SAMR was created by Dr. Rube Pentadura in 2010. SAMR was created as a practical theory for education to understand ways to use technology in the classroom. The evolution of instruction is constantly happening. How we see strong, rigorous instruction happening in the classrooms is constantly changing. Technology is constantly changing. But when we look at the SAMR model, this is just a simple, easy way to be able to see a path to move from book and paper to strong, rigorous instruction where students are creating and just being very engaged and involved in their learning. The SAMR model lays out 4 tiers of digital learning: substitution, augmentation, modification, and redefinition. This visual is a great example of what it looks like. We are able to see that as we move forward from the enhancement levels to transformation levels, that the depth, the rigor of what we're expecting students really changes. So on the left-hand side, we have no technology. Substitution, basically the tech acts as a direct tool substitute with no functional change. So an example of this is instead of giving a paper and pencil quiz, we give a Google form quiz or a Schoology assessment quiz. Really no functional change other than it is placed on technology. Augmentation, tech acts as a direct tool substitute with functional improvements. So that could be an example of that is using the speech to text feature in Google Docs to allow all students to be able to type essays. Modification, tech allows for significant task design. And so as we look at the transformational levels, and we're going to jump into what these really look like in a moment, but as we look at the transformation levels, this is really moving into students creating their own instruction, creating products that can really be pushed out. So in modification, it allows for the students to really take the power amongst themselves and create something for your class. Redefinition, tech allows for the creation of new tasks previously inconceivable. Redefinition is not something that we expect to see often in your classrooms. Redefinition in technology for your instruction is something that might happen once a month, once a quarter, maybe once a semester. This is definitely the highest level of instructional practice using technology, and it does require the most rigorous work and the most prep to be able to move to that. I'm going to give some examples of what this looks like. These are some links that will take you to some resources that I'm sharing today. So an example of SAMR in a writing assignment. The original assignment, simply a handwritten paper. Could be a 3 paragraph essay over something that you choose, could be in a research paper, but no matter what, it is handwritten. So for substitution level, we just use Google Doc to replace pen and pencil. We just have them start typing it. That's it. Augmentation. In Schoology, you might choose to use the Google assignments. Then students can use text-to-speech accommodations to allow all students in your classroom to be successful in writing this. One nice thing about the Google assignments that's embedded in Schoology is you are actually able to see them working in real time. So you can make sure that they are doing it themselves. Modification. The document created, you might have a document created in Google Docs. It is shared with others to receive feedback to improve writing. So in the classroom, they've used Google assignments to be able to type their paper. Now they share it amongst other students in their class to be able to edit, to be able to give it some different ideas on how to make it a stronger writing. And now we have moved to the modification. This can be shared in multiple ways, but no matter what, it is collaborating with other students in the classroom. Finally, redefinition. Instead of a written assignment, students convey analytic thought using multimedia tools like Google Slides, video presentations, or other online resources. And even in this, they're taking it to the next level where they might be presenting this to a partner class that you have in another hour, in another school, another state, or another country. So we're really thinking about how we're able to partner with other classes around the world, or again, within the same building. But you're wanting to be able to use the skills to allow them to be able to present what they've learned. An example in geography. Original assignment, an overview of a location consisting of handwritten content with content that is cut and pasted with pictures. So in this, they might be doing a research project on a certain state, on a certain country. So now they're going to go and find magazines, make a poster, cutouts, put pictures on it. So very hands-on. Great activity to do, but to be able to move it to technology, substitution, use presentation software like Slides or Prezi. So instead of doing it on paper and pencil, now they do it on a Google Slide or a Prezi or any other type of presentation software that we use. Augmentation. Incorporate interactive multimedia audio, video, or hyperlinks in the presentation to give more depth and engagement. So they've created their presentation, they have their map, now they have links or buttons embedded in there. So other people that are viewing it can now watch videos to help them learn. And these videos, they might be ones that they found, but more importantly is ones that they create. Modification. Students create a digital travel brochure that incorporates multimedia and student-created video. So they're moving beyond just this little research, but now they are trying to create this brochure that will make people want to be able to come to see that area that they are researching. And finally, redefinition. They've taken this travel brochure, but they are now using Google Earth to be able to really explore the locale. They are getting interviews from people that have been at that location. So it might be interviews from people in the class, people at home, or people that they have met in other realms. So really creating a worldwide experience using this technology. SAMR as math learning. So we're going to look at fractions. So students might show an understanding of fractions on a worksheet by coloring blocks. So you have a worksheet and you have 3/5, so they're going to color 3 out of the 5 blocks to be able to show a representation of fractions. Substitution. Instead of having a piece of paper that they color, now you have give them a Google Sheet, and they're to show what these fractions look like using Google Sheets. Augmentation, use Google assignments to assign a Google Sheet to let students color in the blocks where the teacher can offer feedback. So again, you're watching it on Google assignment, so you're able to see how they are working this in real time. Modification, use Google Sheets and direct students to online examples and supplementary learning materials for areas that they might struggle with, i.e. using a hyperdoc. So here, they're still using Google Sheets to be able to model this, but you are giving them online problems. So it might be finding some word problems from a video. It might be finding some real world examples for them to be able to show how they understand these fractions on the Google Sheets. And if they're struggling, you have some resources already gathered together for them to be able to find help. And finally, redefinition. So here you are using a fraction app instead of Google Sheets. So like using the fractions app from the Math Learning Center. This allows them many different ways to be able to model the fractions. So really being able to move beyond what you normally do to be able to find the technology to be able to help students understand and show exactly what they understand. So as we look at SAMR, we look at ways in which we're able to really engage, we're really able to push what students are doing, but how do we do that in a classroom? And the best way to be able to do it is using many different blended learning styles. There is not one best blended learning style, but there is typically one that you will find that you are most comfortable with. And depending on the project you are doing, a different blended learning style might be appropriate depending on the outcome of the project. So current instructional methods vary. How do we include students who have to be virtual? How do we include students with sketchy attendance? Because that is something that we are definitely working on now. But how do we build these projects that really want to make students come to school? If all we're doing is sitting and practicing where they sit and listen to us give a lecture for a certain amount of time, then have a 5-question quiz or a worksheet that they complete, that becomes very boring. So really increasing the rigor, increasing what we want the students to create, creates a world where they want to come to our classes, where they want to come interact, where they are excited about coming and learning and showing others what they have learned in the classroom. What are some models that we can use? Models. So using blended learning models to instruct students allow more flexibility and differentiate in your classroom. This allows you to really spend time in the areas of student need, and using an appropriate blended learning model will help on-task behaviors and increase student mastery of objectives. So first one that we're going to talk about is just the basic station rotation. This we see in most elementary classrooms where we start with teacher-led instruction. We might have an online instruction piece, and we have collaborative activities and stations. Here in most elementary classrooms, we are going to have our teacher table. We will be using some sort of online instruction. It could be Imagine Language, it could be Imagine Math, it could be another program that our building has adopted. And then we have our collaborative activities and stations. Typically, you will see anywhere from 3 to 5 stations set up in a classroom, depending on what you are learning. And every single one of these station activities relate back to what is going on in teacher-led instruction. It is teaching that same thing in many different ways, so students can really master what they are learning. So station rotation model allows students to rotate through stations on a fixed schedule where at least one station is online learning. Very common in elementaries because teachers are familiar with centers. Individual rotation. Here, we're able to see the individual rotation model allows students to rotate through stations, but on an individual schedule set by the teacher or computer. So here we have our central learning lab where students are going to be working on their online assignments. It could be through Study Island, it could be geared towards Alpha Plus, it could be information that we're pulling from STAR and assigning out through Nearpod. Lots of different ways to be able to run this central learning lab. But students are going to work here. Then they will come over in a group of about 15 to receive direct instruction. So a great way to think about this is they are working on their regular work in their learning lab. Then they come over in a smaller group to be able to receive that direct instruction from the teacher. As needed, students can be pulled at teacher table in a smaller group of no more than 5 or 6 to be able to receive intervention or be able to learn the skills that they are missing to be able to be on grade. Then we will have a station for group projects, and that allows them to be able to work in groups to be able to create that higher order end of unit project. And there might be a time that seminars are needed where a student or a teacher can provide more instruction to the other students. But the key to this individual rotation is that students have a lot more freedom to be able to move around as needed. They do not have to attend every station they rotate based on their playlist or what they are needing to do to be able to have the final outcome that you have created for them. A flipped classroom. Flipped classroom flips a traditional relationship between class time and homework. Students learn at home via online coursework and lectures, and teachers use class time for teacher-guided practice or projects. So here you use a program like Loom that I'm using right now to record your actual instruction for the students. Unlike this video, you want to keep your videos to about 5 to 10 minutes maximum, where you are giving that direct instruction. And that is the homework that you send home for the students to do. Remember, just because they say they don't have internet at home, most of our students have a cell phone. And if you are creating these videos and posting them on YouTube or Schoology or different avenues like that, they can access those videos on their phone where internet should not be an issue. Likewise, if they get school early enough, they can always jump on their computers to be able to watch those videos before they come to class. As a principal, one thing that I always provided was an area that we called ZAP in the mornings. Zeros are not permitted. And so that was a place that we expected students to go to if they were having issues with homework or their parents were working late and could not help them, that they could go to that area to finish their homework at breakfast time. And my older students, my 5th and 6th graders, we expected them to be able to go over and help any of the younger students that might be having questions. I was always available to be able to work with students at that area, but it gave another option for them to be able to make sure that they are doing their work the way that they should. And so allowing this at a breakfast time or some early time in the morning allows them to be able to watch those short videos. So then that way they can come to class and then they are able to work in front of you. So one question that is being asked quite often over the last 6 months is, well, how am I supposed to teach writing if all they're going to do is use artificial intelligence? This is how you do it. Do not assign those essays for them to do as homework. Assign a video with instruction for them to do as homework, but then use Google Assignments and Schoology and have them do their writing during class time. That way, you're able to assure that they are receiving the support and help that they need while they are doing those writings. You're able to pull them up to your teacher table. You're able to pull them up to your desk and be able to just brainstorm with them different writing techniques and ideas. As they turn in their first draft, you can also give them edits and suggestions, send it back to them for them to make corrections on. So again, you want to assure that the rigor is there. You do it during class time. Flex. In the flex model, this allows students to move on fluid schedules among learning activities according to their needs. Online learning is a backbone of student learning in flex model. Teachers provide support and instruction on a flexible, as needed basis while students work through their course. Several years ago, we used this flex model at a summer school I ran in Oklahoma City Public Schools. We had students working on an online program called Odysseyware, and so they would work independently as a group. Teachers would monitor what they were doing, and we would pull them into intervention groups based off of struggles that we were seeing. We would pull them into a breakout room to give them direct instruction. And then there were times that we would allow the students to be able to go into a collaborative corner to be able to work with a partner to be able to work on these issues. So the flex works fantastically for students that are really needing to receive credit recovery. It allows them to be able to really flow with what is most successful for them. The key is that we have our backbone of computer-aided instruction. Enriched virtual. Students complete the majority of coursework online at home. Students will come in for face-to-face lectures or times to help them and does not require daily attendance at school. We see this happening at Ruffers Innovations, where this is the model that is being done. We do not require our online students to come on a daily basis, but they are required to come to school to be able to receive intervention, some direct face-to-face instruction. And so we are using Enriched Virtual at the Ruffer Innovation Academy. Well, thank you all for your time. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. If you want me to come in to work with you or a small group of teachers on ways to be able to implement blended learning in your classroom or in your department, please reach out to me. I will make sure to make it out. If you want me to come in and just observe a class and give you ideas on ways that you could do this in different ways, again, just reach out. Thank you and have a fantastic school year.